shades of yellow.
Hello, Emma.
Hello, Leah. Shall we introduce ourselves?
Yes, I'm Leah Spicer-Pownall. I'm the marketing manager of Miss Bush, and this is...
I'm Emma Marshall. I'm the MD of Miss Bush, and this is our podcast called The Lovely Job. Or is it a lovely job? I can't remember what it's actually called now. The Lovely Job.
It's just called Lovely Job.
Lovely Job.
And it's called that because you are the manager, the MD of a bridal boutique called Miss Bush, and every day you hear people say that this must be a lovely job.
Yes, and it is. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so much to talk about, enough to fill podcast after podcast with thoughts and opinions about this lovely job. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is our first catch-up since before Christmas, and I've just had to stop us from talking because I was like, we should be recording this.
Yeah, like the first thing that Leah said to me is, where's your agenda for the podcast? I was like, you haven't really got one, because, and then I basically reeled off the reasons why, I think everyone has a very inefficient start to the year. If you're basically like Leah and I and our mothers, it doesn't matter what age of mother you, whether you're mothering small children or big children or adults, Christmas is not really a break. And I was just saying that Rosie, our adorable general manager, managed to spend 5 days in matching pajamas with her boyfriend. I know, right? So that feels like a break. But then she found it very difficult to get back into work because it's like, oh my God, I've got to get motivated to go to work again. And I was just saying, I don't feel like I've had a break. I feel like I've had, I feel like I've had like 10 days trying to get type 2 diabetes and some kind of liver disorder. I didn't even really have that kind of gentle Twixmas. I don't know why or how that didn't work out. And then my new personal trainer completely destroyed me on a session I did with her on Monday the 30th. So I basically couldn't walk for the rest of the week and therefore didn't do any other exercise and then just had to go to work. So it's like,
no,
I know. I feel like it's like, and then you're sort of going back to work, and I like both Rosie did sort of like Thursday and Friday, and I did Friday and Saturday, and both of us were like, yeah, 2 days is enough to start with. You just can't go straight back into a full week. It's too much.
Definitely too much. I'm gonna have to have a day off this week to just like de-Christmas the house because I still haven't taken the decorations down. It's just a mess. There's toys everywhere, well, not toys, but presents that Felix has opened and left just wherever he drops them. It's just a mess.
Ours, I have to say, I think I'm winning at life because our stuff is boxed back and in the loft. So I am actually quite happy about that. But I am the sort of person that if I'm all very happy for the Christmas songs and tunes up until Boxing Day. And then the minute after Boxing Day, beyond that, I'm like, could this go now? So yeah.
Joe's the same, but we had a Christmas party this weekend. My friends and their kids came around, so I had to keep it going. Had to continue the Christmas spirit.
Well, that's good. I mean, I'm definitely over there. And then I also read a post somewhere. I think it's by Nia, from Love Shifting Flowers, and she's like, don't make New Year's resolutions, despite some of the topics we've got going on, because it's not a resolution time of year. Keep it for the spring equinox.
Yeah, I'm definitely the same as that because it's still winter. We're supposed to be hibernating. Like we're naturally, as humans, supposed to do that in this, especially where we live. It's cold. It's miserable. You're not supposed to be doing things like that. Just continue hibernating.
I know it is. You got to try and tune out the endless stories that that your phone gives you, which is like, oh, the rise in chronic alcoholism between women between 45 and 65, and I'm like, hey,
no.
yeah, or what or just new stuff. Do you bet? And also literally
new year, new me.
Yeah, I can't bear that. And also, I have seen most sort of generic bridal sites have been like trends for 25. I'm like, oh, come on, we all bought the 2025 dresses back in April last year. We were all doing the trend predictions then. So really what they were doing, if they were very ahead of the curve, would be like trends 26, to be honest, because we're getting a lot of inquiries from 2026 brides
Yeah,
now.
and you've
So
already seen the preview for Jesus, haven't you?
yeah, 2026. Yes, I forgot to. This is the level of my communication as an MD. I sent Leah a copy of the pictures of the preview collection from Jesus Pero that I saw back at the beginning of December in Barcelona. And she's like, "Have you ordered some of these?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Can
Yeah, I have,
can
yeah.
you maybe share that with me? That would be nice.
Share your inspiration of what you've actually bought and what you'd like me to be promoting and marketing would be really, really good. So yeah, so I've actually got preview 2026 stuff, yeah, en route basically. So, and
Amazing.
we've got 2 new 2026 dresses from Divine Atelier, haven't we? Which we've got no photos for.
Oh yeah, we hadn't have pictures yet. No.
Summer and Maya. Maya?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
so.
Summer's a really good dress, actually. I need to get that on someone quite soon and take a photo of it, because basically it's really reminds me of that Versace dress that Liz Hurley wore to the Four Weddings and a Funeral premiere with when she was Hugh Grant's girlfriend. You know, it had the gold
Oh, what with the
like
safety
safety
pins?
pins down the side, so iconic. And somebody said to me that they wanted to look a bit like a rock chick or something this weekend, and I was like, let's get some safety pins down the side of this.
Oh yes.
That would be good. That would be a very good rock chick wedding dress. But yeah, so trends 2026 is what people that really should be thinking about. So so yeah, no, so we neither of us are really prepared for work. We haven't really done a proper agenda for this or a layout, but we were talking about some quite interesting stuff, and we thought, oh, we better just press record then.
Yes, definitely, because I think it's definitely relatable for everybody going back to work and
Yeah.
yeah. But we don't have any really New Year's resolutions, do we? Mine's just to drink some more water because I'm always dehydrated. That's about it, really. I save it for the spring.
Well, what I'm going to do actually is, I know this is not like a fitness thing, and fitness goal. I mean, anything that I do in terms of fitness now is not to look like some hot fox. It's literally to kind of hold back the tide of aging. But I'm gonna like book in for the Race for Life again in the summer on South Sea Common. So
Oh,
I'm gonna
cool.
put another 5K goal in. So I do really find that when I don't run, because when I got that flu, I think that everyone's had
Mm.
horrible colds and flus before Christmas back in sort of like end of October. It basically like took away my exercise routine, and I haven't put it back, and it's so important, I think, just to have a routine. And maybe it's a neurodivergence in me, maybe I don't know, but I just think a routine where you don't think twice about getting up, putting your like trainers on and going for a run, and you go to this at this time and that at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's non-negotiable because it's in your calendar.
Mm.
Like when we used to have to do PE at school, and you try and make your period last about 6 weeks so that you didn't have to do it or forget your kit or come up with some other note. But effectively, you could never really get out of it, and
Mm.
you were always quite fit and relatively slim when you were a kid
Yeah,
because you
because
because
you
you
were
didn't
doing it all the time.
because you didn't sit and binge Gangs of London while eating up all the Christmas chocolate and biscuits and crisps and everything. So
Right, it's like when my mental health was at its worst as well, and you would just always be like, go for a walk, go for a walk, go outside. And it's just got to keep moving, haven't you? Because otherwise you
yeah.
just start feeling rubbish.
But I also have realised now, having sort of like done lots and lots of counselling with my kids, that someone who's not at that particular moment feeling depressed, anxious, generally whatever, coming up with practical solutions isn't as much what you need to do. You need to
Mm.
like be present and listen and validate to that person's emotions. But yes, you're absolutely right though. But this is like quite often, a bit of a problem, which is like a neurotypical person can bark a list of very sensible instructions to someone who's struggling.
Mm.
And we're like, yeah, but you can do that because you are neurotypical, and you can like do these things even when even if you're feeling sad, it's
Mm.
not literally paralyzing you. So, but yeah, which is, I feel like that's the difference between the paralysis of the ADHDer, do you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and the regular person. It's like, yeah, I know this would make me feel better if only I could get up off the sofa, go and do it. then that would be great.
I know.
But
Yeah.
a bit of outside, yeah, like a bit of vitamin D, bit
Yeah.
of
Although
anything.
not much of it right now.
I know, but we went for me and Marshy went for a blustery walk on the beach yesterday, and the wind was so strong that you could do that thing where you leant into it and probably you could feel the wind supporting you, like you
Oh
weren't
my
actually going to
gosh.
fall over. And
Wow.
yeah, so it was, yeah.
Well, it's actually
Well,
been snowing here and the village is flooded. So it's like that bad here. It's terrible.
no snow here, sadly.
No, you don't really get it by the sea, do you?
No, but imagine if you did. I'd be straight down there, like
Yeah,
photographing
sorry
it for
guys,
extreme weather.
no
So, bye.
podcast today. Emma's on the
I'm sorry.
beach.
The sea has frozen, and I must go and witness this extreme weather spectacle. Do you know what I mean? It's like when they're building these flood defences for like Portsmouth and Southsea. And I understand that's important. They are very nice looking as well, and risk of flooding and sea level rising. But part of me wants to see a flood just for the extremeness of it, or the giant wave lashing over the pier. Do you know what I mean? So part of me is like I am the sort of person who would go and see Twister. So
Yeah, storm chaser. Right. Anyway, let's move on to so we've not got any resolutions really, but we have got plans and goals for 2025 for Miss Bush, haven't we?
Indeed, we have. Yes.
Yes.
We have got, well, you've got some very sensible, practical and marketing related goals, which I think are really good.
I have. So I really, really want to catch up with the Real Bride blog posts because I'm very, very behind with them. So everyone that gets married, I ask for their photos and I ask for a blog submission, and lots of lovely brides send them to us. But yeah, I usually would do one a week at least, or maybe two, and I haven't really been sticking to that. So I've got quite a lot to catch up on. And I'm also going to be sending out an email to everyone that got married last year that hasn't sent theirs as a little nudge to send them. So I'm going to have a lot to do.
If anybody that is listening to us as well that got married last year, we get sent all sorts of gorgeous photos, and I know this sounds a bit weird, but we sell lots of dresses to same-sex couples, lots of women marrying women, fantastic, great girls, all that kind of stuff. Quite often we only do one dress or one part of an outfit or something, but we have virtually no representation on our blog or our website or our Instagram feed that we actually do dress same-sex couples, and I don't know what that's about. And I guess I actually just got a submission from one of our brides who has a wife, and I was like, Leah, oh my god,
I know.
yes.
I'm going to be all over that. I don't think I've ever blogged a same-sex wedding on our blog ever.
And we have loads.
We just don't get sent them. No.
And I'm just wondering whether that speaks volumes about the aspiration of who wants to be on Instagram as a kind of, whether that's their aesthetic and they were so inspired by it that they want to kind of put back into that aesthetic. But that sense of representation is something that we are very, keen to do. I mean, but it's like you can't literally just march to someone's house and be like, you haven't given me your photos.
I know, and I think it's just for future brides that are in a same-sex wedding that we want them to be able to see that they're welcome, and that's something that we do and that we love doing. But we can't do that if we don't have that representation on the blog and Instagram.
Yeah, and I would also say that would also go to my clients that are over 40 as well. Again, we get far fewer submissions from people that are in their 40s and 50s than we do from girls in their 20s and 30s. And again, that may be because our Instagram feed looks skewed towards a younger demographic, but that isn't the reality of our clients.
Yeah.
So, so I feel like that maybe because bridal marketing inherently is so ultra glamorous and is very, very narrow still on its body type, its look, its kind of representation, that doesn't mean that's what we want, but
yeah, and in the email I've put like a collage of images so I can show a whole different, array of styles and ages and everything, just so people can see that that's what we want. But I feel like there's probably still that kind of block. People are like, oh, I'm not cool enough for this, or my wedding's not, interesting enough. But that's not the case. We want all of them. We want everyone, so we can show a great different...
And also, like, it's like, you know, you have been into Miss Bush, you also all know that we're not young, cool, or skinny. It's like, and many of us are not straight. I am, but, like, you know, we also have, you know, we're fairly LGBTQ amongst our staff as well. So it's and neurodiverse. So there's a lot of representation actually in the people that work for Miss Bush. So
yes. Just in a nutshell, we want you. We need you.
We need you, and then Leah can just not blog you because she gets behind, and then that's like...
I know. So if I haven't blogged you yet, there is no reason for that. It's not because I don't want to. It's because I just have a lot to do.
I know.
You're on my list.
And it is really tricky because it's like, you know, like I do know a lot of other shops will only use a couple of images on Instagram, and I think it's worth recapping the reason why we only don't use a couple of images on Instagram is that once you put your images on any meta platform, be it Facebook or Instagram, they're not yours anymore. They're like, they belong to like Zuckerberg. And if at any point Instagram goes down, we don't have that content. And so Leah likes to put all of our images from our brides. Also, we make everyone jump through hoops to make sure that we've got copyright usage. So we have all of them on our website so that they are permanently there and in a on a platform that, you know, is under our control. So that is the reason why we can't just... It's the same as people sometimes DM me a few photos as well on Instagram, and I can't immediately share them because I have no idea what the copyright protocol is, and we've got a business Instagram account, so if we mess that up, we're in really big trouble.
Yeah, so when you fill out the form with the photos, you have to tick a box that says, I have got permission to share these with you, and you're allowed to share them online. Just because you do get photographers that can turn around and be like, I didn't say you could share that.
Yeah, do you remember that time that someone did that at Christmas many years ago? Like, and they were like, yeah, you haven't got copyright. They actually literally tried to shut down our entire website, everything, our blog, the whole lot. And because the bride shared pictures, but didn't realise that despite having paid the photographer, she hadn't got the right to use them. She didn't own the copyright. And they sent the most stroppy message to us saying, yeah, you can't use this. We were going to use these images for next year's marketing. And I was like, wow, cynical.
I know.
So, and also, what's happened to them? They're like nowhere.
I can't even remember their names.
I sort of can actually, and I'm not going to say it because they're still on my kill list.
And something else that I've also added to the form as well is a tick box for sharing images of children. Because this is something that I've had come up before where you've got really, really cute flower girls and bridesmaids. But I know that as a parent, I don't like sharing pictures of my son online. So I've added that as an option as well, to kind of, if you're happy for them to be shared, or if you're not, you can select a box for that, which I think is something quite important. That I've added in last year. So yeah, there's lots of things to think about when you're sharing images. We can't just be like, oh, that's nice, I'll take it and share it.
Yes. Indeed. So that's good then. So I'm like looking forward to like watching the steam coming out of your like keyboard then as we catch up.
At least one a week. That's my thing. But yeah, the other thing that I really want to focus on is being more consistent with the newsletters and working on the mailing list. Because again, like you said about Instagram, that could go down anytime. It could be gone. Like, we cannot rely on that. And so this is a good tip for everybody that's a business listening, is that your email marketing is really, really important. And people are signing up. They want the content. They want to hear from you. So, you know, send emails. So that's the tip for everyone else and for myself.
I know, thank God. I mean, I would have to say, like, particularly when we do sample sales and things like that, most of our bookings come from the sign up to be the first to hear about our sample sales. So, and I have to get, like, I know myself that I will always sign up to get emails from companies I like. And sometimes, even if they're boring me, I just delete them without opening them. But I don't unsubscribe. So basically, I feel that's a kind of, you know, look at how you react to your own emails. And like some people will give me I like Ganny, they were like an email a day, which I think is too much. But nevertheless, I'm not going to unsubscribe in case I miss the one email that says, "Hey, this is a fiver now."
Yeah, exactly. Like people do, they stay on lists for a long time, and you know, they've signed up, they've gone to the effort of putting their name and their email address, everything into this form, signing up to it. So they want to hear from you. And I think I only sent maybe 3 or 4 monthly newsletters last year. So I want to do,
That's more like a quarterly then, isn't it?
yeah, a
Rather than a
quarterly email.
monthly.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I can't. I mean, the thing is, though, I mean, we're relatively speaking a small company in bridal terms. I mean, I probably would say that in terms of like physical turnover of like dresses and money, we're probably like, one of the sort of top 50 in the UK. But there's not many in that top 50 that actually have like a full-time marketing person.
No.
So I think that and if we did more, there is also that balance. Is like there's not that much more demand. We've got to keep our demand consistent because we can't go backwards. But it's like, what if we did more? If we did weekly newsletters, we probably couldn't cope with more inquiries. So it's
No.
trying to get that balance of like footfall through the business, as well as keeping people entertained, because part of our job these days in retail is to be entertaining and is to create communities and offer an authentic point of view. It's a lot more difficult than just shopkeeping than it used to be. So, but yes, okay, so you're consistent with newsletters, and then the content days, which we love doing. And again, they kind of tend to fall by the wayside, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Like the content day last year was, we created all of our top content on that day. But everything that we did that day has been our most watched, most shared viral videos. So, I mean, did one. So we definitely need to do more of those.
Yeah. And also, it gives me an opportunity to get a couple of new dresses because it's an investment in our marketing, and it's very important for me to look nice. And also, like the whatever it was, the mixie mullet, pixie cut mix with the mullet is kind of gone, and my bowl cut is like sort of like coming on. So I feel like I've got another 2 weeks of hair growth to like try and get another sharp hairdo that people can just ridicule on the internet for like the next year.
I know. I was going to say to you, so I mentioned the one on YouTube that did really well. It did
Yeah.
get almost 1 million, not watches, but it appeared 1 million times to people, and it got a lot of watches and a lot of comments as well. And a lot of the comments were about your outfit. So I was going to say to you, you should wear something slightly outrageous again next
I
time,
will be, don't worry. It's like my favourite thing. So
just to
I
get
will be
some more
wearing, yeah,
views.
absolutely. It's the best money I ever spent on that Saloni dress, to be honest.
And I don't think it was even that outrageous, or like, I loved it.
Yeah, maybe it's just Americans or something. Do you know what I mean? Maybe they just don't get the irony. So, yeah. But yes, okay. So we've got the content day coming up. Actually, that reminds me, I've got to work out. I tried to ask about Chloe about whether she could do that again, and she's got a driving test.
Oh, has she? Oh,
Very selfish on that
wow.
day. So I actually need to work out whether she's available, whether I need to get somebody else, because we put it fairly hard lined into the 23rd, was it, of like January.
Yep.
And I haven't actually spoken to Jill Pike about getting the arch down, but I really felt like doing a new arch, which was like literally just a riot of spring, literally
Yes.
just bursting with like paper whites and daffodils and like narcissi of all types. So it was just literally like a massive bonkers
I don't
spring
know if that might be a bit
explosion.
early. 23rd of January.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe.
I picked up some yellow tulips in Tesco's
Oh, did
yesterday.
you?
So
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So,
That would be lovely. Yes, the lovely flowers. And it means I get to come down for a little visit as well, which is always nice.
absolutely.
Think about where
So
to stay this time as well.
I know that Airbnb was rotten, wasn't it? I feel like they kept asking for a review. It's like, let's just say it's better I say nothing.
Which is a shame, because it was lovely. It was a lovely building, but just the whole organisation of it was awful, wasn't it?
It's just really weird, yeah. Imagine if we'd had to go there by ourselves, we'd been really creeped out. So
Definitely.
I think probably what you should just do is, if you get like a night pass, is just drive down, and then I'll drive you down to here. Let's come out down here.
We could do, yeah.
Stay over. It's only, I mean, I would drive home normally. It's not.
Yeah,
Come
true.
Come and stay, Shay Shirley.
It does mean I get to cuddle some kittens, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, they are so mental this morning. Did you see the footage I put on Insta stories?
I did.
They are literally like, the phrase herding cats now makes complete sense to me. And I'm trying to introduce them to Vinny. And so Marshy's put this sort of plastic zipper door up between our bedroom and our dressing room. Sounds very grand, doesn't it? It's not that grand. And so basically Vinny had a look in there knowing that he's seen a paw come through the door, and both him and Polly both had like, they were kind of like suddenly the big fluffy tails, and then he's buggered off and won't actually go back there again. I'm like, right, I'm gonna have to get him in front of the plastic door again, because they are just, when you let them out of there now, they're so like lively, they just want to tear around the whole house.
Oh,
I
cuties.
know, it seemed like a really good idea, getting more kittens, do you know what I mean? But it's a bit like you when you had 3 dogs. It seems like a good idea, and then you think, this is a lot of animals. They're
It's a
outnumbering
lot.
me. Well, we've got them now.
Oh. Right, anyway, do you have any goals that you'd like to add?
For business goals for like 26.
25.
Oh, 25, I suppose it is 25, isn't it? I feel like we've sold quite a lot of dresses for like people that are getting married in 2025. So I guess my aim would be to have like quite a strong sales quarter, say like Jan, Feb, March, so that we have more people committing to being Miss Bush brides in that time. Because once I think we've done that, bridal is a very, very weird business. And one of the things that people maybe don't think about when they think it's a lovely job is the fact that we go to all this trouble to get a client once. And yes, they get their friends to, come and see us and all that sort of stuff. But effectively, we gear an entire marketing effort to selling one thing to somebody once. And as I'm sure I've said in previous podcasts, when you hear people and they're going to like 3 or 4 shops, maybe more in some cases, you've only got a relatively small percentage chance of actually having that, you've got to be really on your game every time you see someone. So everything needs to be perfect about your shop, your business, your product offer. Everything needs to dovetail perfectly. And imagine, and I even saw something the other day where a client of Rosie's was like, basically Rosie sold the dress and another shop took the order. And you're like, great. So I don't really think, and it's not a client's job to think that, it's our job as an industry to think about this. So I guess really like me and every other kind of bridal shop owner, it's like by the end of March, you want to know that your year is booked and that everything's okay and that you've reached a comfortable level of turnover and you've got a great amount of brides booked, because obviously one of the best ways for like future proofing your business is for those brides then to recommend us to their friends and family and that kind of stuff. So so I guess I kind of like in terms of most people, I want Q1 to be very strong, and then by Q2, so like April, May, June, you really want to start to see a lot of 2026 brides, so that you're actually kind of like future proofing the following year and trying to make sure that you've seen enough people that are getting married in 26 to actually know, so you get that zeitgeisty feel of where the trends are going to go, what people are after, what's missing, where you're getting your inspiration from, who they're looking at for inspo, and just kind of getting that sort of vibe. So that's like how my quarters work. I like to skive pretty much the third quarter of the year. It's all the fittings and technical stuff. I'm like, it's not really my strong suit. Yeah. So basically, and then basically the whole kind of like once you get past kind of like August, September, and you're like, oh yeah, that year went well. Then you have the fear about the following year. So it's a fear cycle of owning a bridal shop. So that sounds lovely. You have fun with that, but it's just a cycle of fear. Oh, and also relevance as well, because I know it seems a long way off, but like in like 2026, I'm going to be 60. And what I don't want to be is an irrelevant old bag hanging out in a shop past my sell by date. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that like that would necessarily happen, but sometimes it's quite hard. And I've said it before. I'm finding it really easy to communicate to people's mums now because I really feel I'm in my peer group of people that are in their sort of 50s and early 60s, and it's a sort of then maybe I need to look at kind of developing more people that can take more ownership and personality of Miss Bush, and so it's not all about me. So I think that's probably a goal I've got to think about this next 12 months, which is tune me out a bit, which is quite hard. No, but not tune me out, but like it can't just like it's so much of it has all been me. And not just the work. I mean, I literally, the amount of work I do, it's definitely iceberg situation here. You know, the pointy bit at the top is me, and underneath the surface is all the other people doing the actual heavy lifting. But what I'm saying is, I think that we need to possibly, that iceberg needs to grow a couple of other peaks.
Yes. Well, I think I've got it got down quite well, like speaking as you online.
Yeah, I know.
But a lot of the time, comments and things on Instagram, it's not Emma, it's me.
You know it's me. I like literally when you can see the stories I've done today about the Golden Globes. You can tell it's me because it's all spelt wrong and it's amateur.
Yeah, but everybody loves it. Everybody,
I know it does always
they
do
love
well.
your Golden Globes reviews.
Oh, but I mean, like literally, the thing that I'm finding, so to segue out into the Golden Globes, but what I'm finding now about the red carpets is pretty much, apart from somebody's boobs nearly being out in a slightly tasteless dress, but pretty much it's like everyone's got such a brilliant stylist. There's so many superstar celebrity stylists that there's very little scope for anything to get anyone to get anything wrong. And those brands that are dressing those stars are so fearsome and so strong. You know, I mean, you didn't even need to be told that like Tilda was wearing Chanel or Margaret was wearing Chanel. You just see the picture come up and go, oh, it's Chanel. You know, there's a couple where you go, oh yeah, it's Westwood, that's this, that's that. But there's a couple where you go, like, who made that? So it's kind of like it's still beautiful to watch it. And to kind of have a look at this perfectly put together, perfectly curated stars. But there's very few bonkers outfits or things where somebody's got something wrong. I mean, I think the worst thing about that red carpet, as I went on and on and on about, to anybody who watches our Insta stories, that hideous flower wall. It's completely ghastly.
So bad, wasn't it?
It's so disgustingly horrible. It's so Kim and Kanye's wedding. Do you know what I mean? It's like nasty, nasty, nasty. It also reminds me of like those kind of like nasty promy kind of like backdrops to things, or like, you know, photo booth kind of tack.
Yeah,
which is fine if you're pissed. Do you know what I mean? Photo booth tack is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, but that's like just, and that colour rose is the one that I have taken particular exception to. That colour rose, which is a sort of bilious spot head pinky yellow colour, is so disgusting. It's like but it's what somebody will have said, oh, I just want white roses. And it's basically not. It's like a spot that's ready to burst. It's disgusting. Interspersed with nasty pink. And this is not even Barbie year, so there shouldn't be any pink anywhere at all.
No.
And so I feel like that flower wall clashed with the red carpet. And like, I noticed in the comments on somebody's Instagram, like one of the things, like either one of the Vogues that I follow or one of the kind of like red carpet feeds, and someone's like, why does everybody look so ill? It's like, it's because they're standing next to those flowers. They're disgusting. And so if you put all of that flash photography next to those flowers and the colour of a kind of, like a ready to go spot, disgusting, horrible, nasty, nasty, nasty. And it made everything look worse. And the thing is, but the amount of times when people say, well, I'm just going to have white or ivory roses for my wedding, it's like, that, people, is what you're asking for. It's nasty. It doesn't make anything look better. Those roses are artificially bred to be that colour by David Austin or someone like that. They're not nice.
No.
I hope they bloody smelt nice, because otherwise they all lived and died for no reason whatsoever.
No. But there was the other wall that Zendaya was in front of that was like mossy and green, and that was so much nicer.
It was nicer, but it's still, that mossy and green wall still reminds me of that really famous like gif of Homer Simpson disappearing back into a...
Oh, I got Felix a hoodie of that. He's got like a
But he's like,
fleece hoodie and it's got Homer
yeah,
going into the background.
yeah, that's such an icon. So I don't even think that's like the best backdrop, really. Do you know
No.
what I mean? I would think with all of the amazing creatives in the world,
Mm,
you know, and working in the film industry, how was that? How was that signed off on as a kind of like, you know, you've got the most megawatt stars in the entire world, and that is what you thought. I
mm,
mean, poor old Ariana Grande and that kind of like, I mean, I think her vintage dress was looked like the fabric color looked a bit aged. Do you know what I mean? It was,
mm,
or it was, but it was such a delicate look, and so kind of like, um, she looked like a little otherworldly pixie, which I thought was very charming. Her and Cynthia like have been giving me life as far as the carpets have been concerned. But yeah, I just thought that just like it just looked vile against that, and you'd think as a stylist you'd be like,
yeah. Don't stand her there, please.
so I'd be like, move, 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 tear that wall down. It's ghastly. I mean, about the only thing that looked good against it was black,
Mm,
but you know, it is. It is kind of, yeah. So, but I just thought everything else was very beautifully well put together, and just predictably, you can see people go, "Oh, this will be a bridal look. That'll be a bridal look," and it's like, oh my God, it's
mm.
just a long dress. You could say everything was a bridal look if you made it in ivory. So I thought that's a bit dull.
Yeah, there's nothing that was just like, wow, this is so cool. This is amazing. Everything's just a bit like boring.
It was a bit boring, I have to say. I mean, I loved Emma Stone's look. I also loved Jodie Foster's look as well. I have to say those are probably my two favourite looks, just because they're very, you know, very native to what I like myself. I
Mm,
also thought that Zendaya's dress, whilst it looked quite striking, I thought her haircut made her look a bit like, thought it was a bit aging. I know it's a kind
mm,
of vintagey hairdo, but I just thought it was a bit aging. And also, if you look at the bust darts on the dress, it was very wrinkly and very poorly fitting. And it was a
mm,
zip up back, and you could actually see it pinching her skin at the back, which is the kind of thing that gives brides kind of nightmares. The
mm.
idea, if you pinch someone's skin, they're like, "Oh, I've got back fat." You're like, Zendaya's got it. That is, there isn't an ounce of body fat on that girl. So
Mm.
it's not, it's just things, if things are too tight on your soft skin, they will move. You know,
Yeah,
your skin will move. So very much like the whole armpit thing everybody's a
yeah.
bit freaked
That's
out
not a
about
you
always.
problem. It's a
It's a
wardrobe
fit
problem.
problem, yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. So, but yeah, so I did really enjoy that. The trouble is, as I started looking at it with Ashley Graham last night before I went to bed, and then because I'm an old person, I have to get up and go for a wee in the middle of the night. So then I couldn't help but to look at my phone again to
No.
look at some more stuff at about 4 this morning. So I'd
Mm.
got a fully formed set, and then the kittens were up and like scratching to get out of their like room at 6. I feel like my night has been interspersed by a sort of like a fever dream of kittens and red carpet. It's kind of very gothic, very weird. So I probably could go and write Frankenstein now, really.
Yes, do it.
And I literally, the thing that I really loved most about it, and we've just discussed that you're gonna watch this film before next week, is
Yes.
Demi Moore winning the Golden Globe for Best Actress in The Substance, which literally was like, all Christmas I've just watched horrifically violent things. If it's not about an assassin or the gangs of London, it's The Substance. And they've actually, there's a term for it, it's called body horror.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of blood. Without a plot spoiler, there's just a lot of blood
Yeah,
in
I've told
it.
Emma she's not allowed to spoil it for me. I have seen a few little clips of it, but I don't. I don't want to hear anything else.
I mean, I could, like, I don't know if, you know, anybody that's listening knows that I did a degree in film and literature. So this was back in the early days of like film degrees in the 80s, where everything was analysed from a Marxist feminist point of view of film. I mean, literally, I could have write a thesis on that. It was just everything about it was had all these themes, these references, and very much, I mean, Demi Moore, I think is like 60, 61, something like
Mm.
that. So, and obviously she looks incredible, and she's obviously, you know, not that's not a naturally aged person. So I think for her to take on that role as well
Hmm.
was really, really good. and just the conversations that it sparked in my head about the conversations that I have with mothers at work, and that relationship between aging. So good. You go next week. We'll talk about it next week.
I will watch
it's
it.
a treat.
But then actually, we don't want to spoil it for anyone else that hasn't seen it. So
Well, we
everybody
could just do a
watch it
spoiler
this
alert.
week. Yeah, everybody watch it this week, and then we'll
So
talk
this
about it
is
next
like
week.
the podcast is turning into like a book club / film club. It's like everybody. Leah was just saying to me at the beginning, I'd read this book called Yellowface and recommended it to her. She's like, I've just started it, and I was like, oh, shall we discuss? And it's that kind of thing, isn't it? It is like, I feel like this is quite. What did I just finish? Like Girl, Woman, Other by Bernardine Evaristo. That's
Also
very,
got
very
that on
good.
my list.
Yeah. So, and then I'm reading, what's the woman? Bella Mackey's second novel now. Another one about murder. Yeah.
Last year as well, you recommended Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow to me, and that was my favourite book of the whole year last year. I loved it. So I think we could have a book club.
Yeah, we should have a book club. A Splish book club. Let's sort the wedding dresses. Yeah, it's like, they're nice. We do this. It's great. They're going to fit beautifully. Don't have anxiety. I had a really interesting appointment with a girl actually on Friday who is, by her own admission, an anxious bee. And it was quite an interesting thing where, like, we've had several appointments, and she's listening. Sorry to say it, but like each appointment you have, the profit margin on your dress goes down and down and down. So ideally, I don't want people to have 5 or 6 appointments before they choose a dress. But I do realise it's with some people that the appointment fees are a lot cheaper than therapy. And I'm kind of used to talking about like that anxiety from so many people, and in relation to yourself as a woman, in relation to your wedding, in relation to all of that. But one of the really interesting things was that she asked me to do, or in fact her friend asked me to do, is like, right, if she wasn't choosing, like, what would you put her in? I was like, right, off I go. It's like, here's what I think you look like. I think you look a bit like Wednesday Addams. I think you look a bit like a bit like a pretty goth. So I gave her a whole bunch of references of like women I felt that like fitted into that kind of thing, from Helena Bonham Carter to Susie, Cave, to all sorts of people, do you know, that fitted into that thing. And I was like, right, so what you need to do now is go and do a mood board. And she's getting married in midsummer. And I was like, go and think about that midsummer, the solstice, the magical part of it. Go and do a mood board that looks nothing like you, your dresses, you doom scrolling to death on the internet, because actually your mood board needs to come from beyond you, and it needs to be like, I'm looking at you. And so I put her in 3 dresses that I thought would be amazing, and they were. And I was like, I could see you in this dress. So that Sophia Vollard dress that's the high crew neck with the kind of like long sleeves, absolutely solid. Kuma? No. What's it called?
Is it Kyle?
It
No.
begins with a K. It's definitely a
They all begin with a K.
Yeah, they begin with a K. So I put her in that and I was like, so imagine that she's very dark hair, centre parting, quite pale. And I was like, do this and be very like. There's also another woman who wrote a book called
Tish Weinstock. I was just going to say, yeah, she needs to put her on the mood board for sure.
Tish Weinstock was definitely on the mood board. And I was like, so wear this dress. And I said, what you want is like literally it to be utterly kind of like plain with nothing else with it at all. And then you want some huge crucifix earrings. And I didn't have any huge crucifix earrings. So I put her the huge shrimps, diamante shrimps on, and like pulled her hair like really smooth. And I was like, this. And then make sure that your bouquet looks toxic and it's full of herbs, and you could make a spell or a charm out of it, or did it like might really kill someone if you swallowed it or something. So it was that kind of thing. And it was like it was almost like an eye-opener for her to really look at something in the same way that I might look at a design project, which is not what is everyone else wearing or how am I going to present myself. It's like, find a little bit who you look like quite naturally and work through that. And it's always the same thing when people say that they want to be timeless. I'm like, start with your day wear, love. It's like, you're not timeless, girl. Or if people are like, is this too trendy for me? It's like, if you're asking the question, then yes, it is.
Yeah.
if you can't get on a bandwagon and like enjoy it for its moment, then don't. You know, so it was quite, that was quite an
Oh, can
interesting.
I just add, the dress is called Carmen. So if anyone's
Oh,
listening and they want to
Carmen.
know, it's on the website.
What a pretty goth dress looks like. The
Hello.
other one that I added to that, which again I'd have to really look at the kind of style numbers, is the dotty puff sleeve Jesus Perro one with the frills over the bust. And I was
love
like,
that one.
yeah, it's very sort of like it's still got that sort of melodrama and gothic. So it's the sort of thing that you would see in a 40s melodrama film noir with lots of kind of like lighting that goes through kind of Venetian blinds and things like that.
2537.
Yeah. So this is when you say pretty goth, it's not really got anything to do with, you know, wearing those like boots with the giant platforms or having a earplug, those stretchers. It's got a lot to do with taking references from melodrama and gothic, as well as music and as well as British eccentricity, and putting it into a style.
Like a bit of like Victoriana and like Edwardian feel, and it's more kind of that, isn't it?
Yeah, and there was a couple of aristocratic weddings. In fact, actually, I got her to look at the Shrimps designer Hannah Whelan's wedding, because that was definitely like I'm so rich I can be this hippie. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's absolutely that sort of like where Bohemian meets Gothic, which is what I think truly British Bohemian looks like. It's a sort of an arty enclave, isn't it? So so that was fun. I can't remember why I got onto that subject now.
I don't know, but we are just so you know, we're at 46 minutes. So
okay, that's fine. So I think I have no idea how I got to that, but
I enjoyed that. That was great.
So that's how I think it was like somebody was like, how to cope with anxiety or something. I can't remember. Anyway, so basically how to stop. Sometimes it's a lot easier to have someone who comes in and you're just like, let me help you. Rather than say, for example, if you get a pain in the middle of the night, don't go on WebMD. Just think it's probably fine. But I'll ask someone who actually knows the next day. And I would say that sometimes for anxious brides, going onto Instagram or Pinterest is a bit like Googling your symptoms in the middle of the night. Nothing's going to help.
No, I think this is as well as why the appointment fee is so important, because you're not just paying to come and try dresses on. You're paying for this expertise, this knowledge, this that Emma has. Like, you can't just get that for free from somewhere. Like, it's the service.
Oh, you can get it off the internet. I seem to have been giving this opinion on the internet for free for about 10, 12 years though now. To be fair, you probably could find it.
Yeah, do your research and you'll find it.
Quite.
Right, so
yes. What else have we got to look forward to this upcoming week then? I think we should be getting some of those new Jesus Perro 2026 dresses soon, so we can share those. But we're not allowed to, like, the images are seriously embargoed until we get like any of them in the shop, because the problem is with Jesus Perro, as we know, they are absolutely massively copied. Hello, Ellis, looking at you again. So, and other people who should know better. So I think they want to try and keep an embargo on the images as long as they can, so that by the time they can't, which is in April, most of the big manufacturers and copiers will have actually had to have created their collections, and so won't be able to kind of put rip-offs of them in their collections. But suffice to say, they are very lovely. The one thing I did feed back into JP about when I was there in Barcelona is I felt there wasn't a lot of dresses for people like me that want to wear a bra or a little bit curvier or something like that. And I'm like, so I'm assuming those are going to be in the next bit. You know, I was a little bit like, definitely always know that I'm taking that point of view with people. So, but yeah, I feel like that's what I'm looking forward to immediately next. And what else have we got coming up? Yeah, I think it's just planning towards the content day. Now, nobody sent me a single question at all, even though I put that out at 4:00 in the morning when all the insomniacs should be up wanting to know things. So, I think I know what we need to do as far as showcasing some new products. But I guess we've then got to think about if anybody's got any of these styling questions that we readily get asked is what that's going to look like. And if somebody actually wants to send some questions in, then do either email us hello@lizbush.co.uk. If there's a mystery you would like us to uncover by the medium of TikTok reels or YouTube video, then also like let us know. That would be great.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, shall we sign off then?
Yes, let's sign off. That was great.
I can't remember what our set sign off is now. We
I thought
came
it
up
was
with
like,
one.
yeah, we did come up with one. I don't know. It's like keep your eyes peeled. I don't know. Watching you, watching me. I literally have no idea. We need to get a catchphrase, but we didn't even have a plan this week, but we managed to talk still.
A lot. Yes, we did.
Yeah, I think the phrase would be, "I will see you next Monday."
Yes, see you next Monday. Goodbye.
It's Monday. Sorry, just to whoa, stop it. Just 2 ticks. Is it today that's Blue Monday, or is it next Monday that's Blue Monday? Like the saddest day of the year when everyone's tries to get divorced.
I think it might be today. It might be today. First Monday back at work.
Is it, or is it the second Monday back at work? Is it that when everybody decides
I'm going to have a look. It's Monday. It's the 20th. Monday the 20th.
Oh, okay. So Monday the 20th. So what we've got to do then is to keep Mondays positive all the way through January. So we're going to be upbeat and fabulous, and reminding yourself that it's not dry January at all. You don't have to go on a diet. Everything's fine. You're getting married this year. Literally, it's not stress. Just share any worries with us, and we'll kind of put those right out of the head and sort them out for you.
Yeah, it's all good.
No Blue Mondays here. Maybe that's what our catchphrase should be. I don't like Blue Mondays.
Oh no, she's going to start singing again.
I'm not. Certainly not going to go. But that was either the Boomtown Rats or New Order. Neither of those things could I do very well. So I don't like Blue Mondays. So see you next Monday.
See you next Monday. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Everybody's saying that they like my style. Wanna know how I do it? I smile. While you were out there saying, hey, hi, hello, I was getting dressed up in shades of yellow.